Let's play a game. You own some of the most well-known, highly profitable intellectual property that's ever existed, and you want to capitalize on it. Will you A, look back and see what's made those IPs desirable to fans in the first place and give them what they want? Or B, throw all that away as outdated and try and appeal to a yet-to-be-realized modern audience? If you chose A, congrats, you're not an idiot. If you chose B, my condolences. You're the Walt Disney Company. Let's just get this out of the way. We all saw this, right?
What the fucking fuck?
And even though I've made it perfectly clear that I have no illusions that Disney will change course and that what we're getting from them is literally the only thing that can possibly be shot out of that company at this point because it's the only thing the machine is set up to produce, I'm still kinda stunned it keeps happening. There's hard-headedness, and then there's Disney. Disney has all but killed Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Pixar, the MCU, and is well on its way to killing its entire back catalog of animated classics via progressive live-action remakes nobody wants. If a competitor somehow gained access to Disney with a desire to run the company into the ground, I'm not sure they could have done it any more ruthlessly or efficiently. It's been breathtaking to watch.
I'm not even mad. That's amazing.
Keep in mind, Disney managed this with some of the most popular franchises in the history of movies. Imagine the work you'd need to do to make Star Wars fans abandon a franchise they've loved for nearly 50 years. These franchises used to be sure things. That's why Disney bought Lucasfilm, Marvel, and Pixar to begin with. Likewise, their classic animated movies were basically just money in the bank. Snow White was created back in 1937, but never stopped making money for Disney. From re-releasing the movies into theaters, to re-releasing it onto new formats for home viewing, to using the character likenesses on everything you can think of. This same playbook was used for every single one of Disney's properties decade after decade. And then some geniuses got the idea that what they really needed to do was go back and take these animated classics and turn them into live-action movies. Sure, this was always just a blatant money grab, but at least at first, there was a small attempt to keep them as close to the source as possible. It didn't take long for Disney's corporate culture, which succumbed to progressive orthodoxy a while ago, to begin using these remakes as vehicles for their social and political messaging. And thus began the obnoxious race and sex swapping of legacy characters in the ever-growing pursuit of diversity. And as each movie went further and further and fans voiced their displeasure more and more, Disney never altered course. They just doubled down and blamed fans for being bigots. Disney has been in this death spiral ever since, attempting to one-up itself by just how progressive they can make each remake, enraging a large portion of the fan base and losing them forever. And that hoped-for modern audience they were trying to cater to? Yeah, they've stayed on Twitter and have yet to make any impact supporting any of this at the box office, or in TV ratings, or merchandise sales. While I'd still be pissed as a fan that they'd ruined all of this, if you could at least look at the strategy and say they've replaced all the mean old bigots that wanted the movies to say mostly the same, then I'd at least have to acknowledge that their plan worked. But it hasn't, and they've yet to change course or admit they're wrong. You've even seen attendance down in the parks. Most recently, CEO Bob Iger had the balls to blame high temperatures on July 4th for why attendance was down. You mean to tell me it was hot in July in Orlando, Florida? Aside from the absolute gall it takes to say that kind of thing out loud, it completely forgets how families buy tickets and attend the damn park. These are tickets bought months in advance, at least. Most families have traveled to be there, and as such, they don't really have the option of sitting a day out because it's hot in July. Truth is, the parks are starting to see the same lack of interest as the movies, and that's a great thing. For far too long, Disney has behaved as if you have to attend their movies, watch their TV shows, or go to their parks. You don't, I promise. For most Americans, I think going to Disney World, or Disneyland if you're closer to the West Coast, is still seen as kind of a bucket list thing, especially if you're a kid. There's that feeling of missing out if you don't go. My family could never afford to go when I was a kid, and it was always kind of a sore spot. So when my boys were old enough, we made the trip. Truthfully, it was just okay. And even more truthful, going there made us want to go to real places instead. And since we've gone to the Grand Canyon, a bunch of national parks in Utah, and Yellowstone this past June, each trip while expensive due to travel, wasn't as expensive as our trip to Disney would have cost today, and the experience we've had were far superior. And best of all, our money didn't go to support a company destroying the cultural heritage of the past, and one that's directly stated that if I don't agree, I'm the problem. So when you see images like this, understand it's willful on the part of Disney. They know exactly what they could have done to appeal to the vast majority of the paying customers they still have, and decided to do the opposite and hope they can bully them into submission and accept it. Some have, some still will, others will never. Just remember, it's not your job to keep Disney afloat. Hopefully, you have hard copies of the Disney classics you still love, and if not, I highly recommend grabbing used copies off eBay or somewhere else. Then, it's up to you if you want to watch Disney kill its own company or not. From here on out, my interest is only in pointing and laughing at the carnage. Until next time, thanks for watching.